She said, "If you love me, you'll sign without reading." So I read every word, then exposed her hidden exit plan in front of everyone and canceled the wedding on the spot. Love to me had always been a matter of trust. Pure, steady, and unquestioned. I believed that when you spent years building a life beside someone, you didn't feel the need to scrutinize every sentence they spoke or analyze every action with suspicion. Love wasn't supposed to be a contract negotiation. It was supposed to be a silent pact, built from shared moments, mutual dreams, and genuine care. So when Claire looked me in the eyes, smiled softly, and said, "If we truly love each other, we don't need lawyers between us. We don't need a prenup," I paused, just for a moment. Then I nodded, because I believed her. Claire was 30 years old, graceful, Instagram famous, and a self-proclaimed wellness coach. Her life was a mosaic of calming affirmations, scenic yoga poses, and inspirational captions that seemed to echo with serenity. I never mocked her career. I never doubted her dreams. If anything, I supported her, funded her studio, helped clear her debt, and carried the weight of our household so she could focus on building her brand. I'm 38, a real estate developer who'd spent years climbing his way up from a cramped studio office into a portfolio that included several properties and a few running projects. I wasn't a millionaire, but I was comfortable, stable, and most of all, generous with my time, energy, and wallet. I proposed after a weekend trip to Maine. The ocean air had felt like a clean slate, and she'd laughed so beautifully that day that I genuinely thought we were in sync, that our futures were aligned. We'd been engaged for almost a year when the first crack appeared. It was a small folder, nothing too conspicuous. Slim, bound in navy blue, with her usual soft smile sitting beneath eyes that gleamed just a bit too bright. "My cousin looked over a few things," she said. "Just a basic marriage agreement. Nothing serious. Don't even worry about reading it. Just sign when you have a chance." She kissed my cheek like it was a napkin note, hummed a tune while walking into the kitchen, and left me alone with that folder. She had no idea that, for me, reading documents was like breathing. Years of real estate contracts had trained me to see beyond surface language. I knew that the most damaging words often came dressed as formalities. So I opened it. I read it, and I couldn't breathe. The language was clean, polished, deceptively friendly. But beneath the gloss was a trap. A calculated net designed to extract. If we divorced after just 1 year, a mere 12 months, I would be obligated to surrender a portion of my company, 40% of the equity in 3 properties, and monthly support payments. Not even based on fault or circumstance. It was an automatic payout. And not for assets earned together. These were things I had built before I ever even met her. This wasn't a prenuptial agreement. This was a structured exit strategy masquerading as love. I didn't mention it that night, or the next. I played along, asked about cake flavors, talked color palettes, laughed at her jokes. But inside, something had shifted. I wasn't angry yet, just detached, quiet. A switch had flipped, and every smile she offered after that felt like theater. A scene carefully staged for a role I hadn't realized I was playing. Then other things started making sense. She began guarding her phone, always face down, quick to swipe away notifications. Her cousin's name came up often, too often. One evening, while she showered, her phone lit up on the counter. I should have looked away, but something told me to glance. And there it was, a message from her cousin. "He'll sign. He's blinded by love. Wait a year. We file. Easy alimony. Easy exit. Your new place will be ready by then." I stood there for a long time, not speaking, not breathing, just cold. A stillness settled in that felt like ice cracking beneath my skin. I took screenshots, emailed them to myself. Then I dug deeper. Her laptop history revealed apartment listings in another city, coincidentally, the same city her ex still lived in. Emails to friends bragging about her financial freedom timeline. I wasn't a partner in her dream. I was a stepping stone, a temporary investor in a life she never intended to share permanently. I could have confronted her, thrown the folder on the table, demanded answers, but I knew that would just trigger denials. I needed more. I needed her to think I was still oblivious, still dreaming of a future with her. So I became what she expected, the supportive fiancé, the guy who'd never suspect a thing. Meanwhile, I consulted a lawyer, a friend I'd trusted for years. I showed him the document. His face hardened. "This isn't a prenup," he said. "This is a payout playbook. She's not protecting you. She's positioning herself to cash out." We created a plan. I collected everything: screenshots, listings, messages. I attended cake tastings with a smile, finalized the venue, paid deposits. She had no idea she was walking into her own exposure. The rehearsal dinner took place at a gorgeous vineyard just outside the city. The tables were adorned with ivory linens, strings of light danced overhead, and guests laughed between glasses of red wine. Claire looked radiant, dressed in white, surrounded by her closest friends, and wearing that same smile that had fooled me for so long. Her cousin sat at the end of the table, smug as ever, like he was watching a script unfold exactly as he'd written it. When the toasts began, someone tapped a knife against a glass. The room fell quiet. They were waiting for me, the groom, to speak. Claire turned to me with expectant eyes, her smile full of triumph. I stood, took a breath, reached for the folder. I reached into my bag slowly, pulling out the slim, blue folder. The same one Claire had handed me weeks ago with that carefree smile, as if it were nothing more than a formality. I held it up for everyone to see. "Before I talk about love and commitment," I said, my voice calm, clear, unshaken, "I want to share something Claire gave me, something she asked me to sign without reading." A ripple went through the room. I could see Claire's smile flicker, like a candle hit by wind. Her fingers tightened around her wine glass, her eyes narrowed slightly, trying to read my intention. Her cousin leaned forward. The hum in the room died. Everyone was listening. "I was told this was just standard," I continued, "that I didn't need to worry about it, but I read every word." And then I read between the lines. I opened the folder with careful precision. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. The silence in that room was loud enough. "This agreement states that if we were to divorce after just 1 year, I would owe Claire 40% of my business assets. She'd walk away with a cut of my properties, monthly support payments, and none of that depends on cause, fault, or even reason. It was already decided. It's not a prenup. It's a payout contract. A softly worded exit strategy." A few people gasped. I heard one of her friends whisper, "Wait, what?" I turned to Claire. Her smile was gone now. She was frozen, pale, but still trying to look unbothered. Her cousin was rigid, his smugness evaporating. "But that's not all," I said quietly, reaching for the second folder I'd prepared. "Because I also read the messages between Claire and her cousin. The ones that called me blinded by love. The ones that mapped out the timeline. Wait a year. File for divorce. Take the money. Move into her new place. The one near her ex." I walked from table to table, calmly handing out copies of the screenshots. Texts, listings, emails. All of it. "This," I said, "is not a story about love. It's a story about manipulation. About being so sure someone trusts you, you bet on their blindness." Claire's mouth moved, but no sound came. Her eyes shimmered, not with love, with fear, panic. Her cousin got up without a word and walked out of the room. People flipped through the pages, some looking at her, others looking away entirely. Claire finally found her voice. "Wait. Please. It's not what it looks like, I swear. I can explain." "But you won't," I replied, "because everyone here just read it themselves."
No interpretas gens.
Just the truth. I trusted you with everything. My time, my life, my future, and you treated it like a business transaction. That's not love. That's strategy. The final blow came softly. I looked at her one last time. This woman I'd loved, believed in, shared a bed and a life with, and said, "The wedding is off. You have 24 hours to pack up your things." After that, the locks change, and I walked out.
No slam doors. No screams.
Just the shuffle of shoes on hardwood and the crushed silence of a woman who thought I'd never read between her lines. I felt the night air hit me as I stepped outside, cool, crisp, like I just escaped something heavy. Some guests followed. Some just sat, shell-shocked. A few clapped quietly. But I didn't turn back. I didn't sleep much that night. Not from regret. Just from the weight of it all. The adrenaline, the sadness, the finality. By morning, she was gone.
No επάλεγει. No goodbye.
She left behind a few missing kitchen items, an empty closet, and the same folder I'd read the first time. Like a souvenir of what could have been, and what thankfully never was. I expected some kind of aftershock. A blow-up. A message. But instead, she ghosted. Within a week, she'd moved to a new city, right near her ex, just like the listings had said. And soon after, I heard from mutual friends that she'd begun spinning a new version of the story, that I'd violated her privacy, that I'd overreacted to private conversations, that I had publicly humiliated her over a misunderstanding. But here's the thing. I never posted anything online. Never shared those screenshots with the world. I didn't have to. Word travels fast when truth hits hard. Her wellness brand took a hit. Sponsors backed out. A few of her clients even reached out to thank me. Said they'd always felt something off. That she preached mindfulness but lacked any sincere empathy. 3 weeks after everything fell apart, I got one final email from her. No subject line. No grand explanation. Just a paragraph. I didn't think you'd actually read it. I thought you loved me enough to trust me. I guess I was wrong. Or maybe you were. I didn't respond. There was nothing left to say. I took that time to rebuild, not dramatically, not through some cinematic healing montage. Just slowly. With friends I'd neglected. A long solo trip. Some late-night runs. Simple things that let me breathe again.
No gimmicks.
Just peace. Eventually, I started dating again. Carefully. Then I met someone. Smart, grounded, emotionally present. When I brought up a prenup after a few months, she smiled and said, "That makes sense. It's a partnership, not a gamble." One sentence. And just like that, I felt something repair in me. Not everything, but enough. Looking back now, I realized the most haunting part wasn't the betrayal. It was her confidence that I'd never catch it. That my love would make me ignorant. That I'd sign without reading. That I'd never notice the exit strategy being written behind my back. But I read. I always will. And for anyone out there who thinks trust should mean turning a blind eye, remember this. Sometimes the quiet ones are the ones paying attention. Like this story? Hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more true stories about trust, betrayal, and choosing yourself before it's too late.